This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Friday, January 9th, 2026. I'm Alex Brown. Carmel-based hunger relief organization Hatch is celebrating delivering 100 million protein-rich meals in 2025. CEO Danny Leckie says the nonprofit partners directly with farmers and egg producers to provide eggs, chicken, turkey, beef, and pork to food banks who then distribute the food to over 40 states.
Food banks and food pantries are lacking in animal protein. That's what we do. That's our kind of bread and butter, is focused really solely on getting the most hard to procure and delivered items into food banks and pantries, which is protein.
Hatch's next goal is to deliver 365 million protein-rich meals per year by 2030. Batesville-based manufacturer Hillebrand says that the majority of its shareholders has approved the previously announced $3.8 billion acquisition of the company by an affiliate of Dallas, Texas-based Lone Star Funds. The deal is now expected to close by the end of the first quarter. Indianapolis-based Family Horizons Credit Union has announced the retirement of Keith Wright as president and CEO, a role he held for more than 23 years. The credit union said Jamie Reed, who most recently served as chief operating officer, has been promoted to succeed Wright. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media Podcast Network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise at ibj.com to learn more.
Indiana is one of just a dozen states opting out of a summertime food aid program for hungry school children. IIB's Aubriana Herron has more.
While anti-hunger advocates hope for a reversal, Indiana Family and Social Services Administration officials say the agency wasn't appropriated the money required and is busy planning for federal changes that could add to a whopping $260 million a year to the state's Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program expenses. Sunbucks provides $120 in grocery benefits across a summer per eligible school-aged child. The federal government covers the benefit and splits administrative costs 50-50 with states. The program began as a pilot that debuted nationwide in 2024. About 669,000 Hoosier school-aged children participated that summer, with a collective of $80 million loaded onto their debit-like electronic benefit transfer cards. Governor Mike Braun's nascent administration didn't take part in Sunbucks last summer and says the state will opt out of this summer too. FSSA Secretary Mitch Robe says the previous administration didn't plan to participate in the program in 2025, so the decision had already been made from Braun. 38 states and the District of Columbia currently plan to participate, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which oversees the program at the federal level. Indiana is one of 12 that won't. Aubriana Herron, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
The Knox County Chamber of Commerce announced this week that President Jamie Neal will resign after 8 years leading the organization and serving the county's business community. Under Neal's leadership, chamber membership tripled and several new programs were launched to support local businesses, the chamber said, adding that Neal is leaving to pursue a new professional opportunity. Her last day with the chamber will be January 23rd, and the chamber plans to form a search committee to begin the process of identifying new leadership. Grace College has broken ground on the first capital projects being undertaken through the Catalyst Corridor Initiative, designed to transform the corridor between Winona Lake and Warsaw. The initiative's executive director, Emiko Kreklau, says a renovation of the Gordon Health and Wellness Center is slated for completion this summer, with an indoor turf facility and business innovation center on the Grace campus slated to begin construction later this year.
We are very much on track with our original goals, and maybe in the case of a couple of projects, slightly ahead of our timeline. So everything really seems to be moving along, for the most part, on track. It's just galvanized the community and created a lot of positive momentum, building on the momentum that was already there, or at least that spirit of collaboration.
The initiative has generated approximately $100 million in combined public, private, and institutional investment. Tom Griswold of the Bob and Tom Show is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports and entertainment, and beyond. Available now on the IBJ Media app or your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.